Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. That is Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, like Houdini, but no, it's Loudini, like my name, Lou Lombardi. I'm Lou Lombardi, your host, a.k.a. Loudini. You can go to LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com at any time to listen to interviews like this one or our music podcast, which comes out every Saturday. New interview every Wednesday, new music podcast every Saturday. That is LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. If you love great independent music and you want to get involved with the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus in promoting it, you can go to supportindierock.com. And there you can get involved with a program there where you can get involved in helping us to get the word out about great artists. Today on the phone, I've got Snir Yamin. This is my first call from Israel. This is amazing. This is the first on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, so I'm pretty excited about it. Snir is a really amazing singer-songwriter, and we're going to talk with him today in a minute. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine. That is pplmag.com, Pittsburgh's first internet radio, TV network, online community magazine, and business directory. You can listen to, watch, download, and receive emails with the latest audio and video created by the members of the community. You can read articles, grab coupons, and find businesses. You can even start your own magazine page at pplmag.com. So we have this really amazing singer-songwriter on the line with us today. He's hailing from Israel. Snir Yamin is a singer-songwriter with a personal and eclectic approach to his music. His songs bridge the gaps between the intimacy of folk, the appeal of pop, and the energy of rock, echoing the sound of talented performers like Damien Rice, Jeff Buckley, Neil Young, or Elliott Smith, just to name a few. Snir, welcome to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. How are you today?
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So, Snir, why don't you give us the background, how did you get started in music? Just how did you get into this?
Yeah, so when I was 13, I got my first guitar from a family member, and then, started to play with it, and then discovered the magic of writing songs. So that's pretty much where I found it, amazing. So I stick to it. And so, I started writing music and lyrics, we can say, more or less 10 years ago, maybe 13 years ago when I was a teenager. I was a really quiet boy in school, so I found the lyrics and music my place to escape to and write all that I couldn't really say to people around me. So I found the songs to be the way of me screaming out all I wanted to say. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that brings a good point. Well, first of all, before we get into what you want to say with your music, when you first started playing, did you start out by maybe trying to pick up and learn some of the music that you liked listening to, and who did you like listening to when you first started playing?
Yeah, so when I started, I grew up in a house that listened to a lot of rock and roll music like Guns N' Roses and Led Zeppelin, but also a classic Israeli musician. So it varied between a lot of music genres. So when I first started, I played a lot of rock and roll music and classical music. And classical rock and roll music. So kind of varied between a lot of different music genres. So, yeah.
Do you feel that learning having a little bit of a foundation by learning some of this other music, do you feel like that has helped you to understand how to put songs together and how to write your own music?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that the music that we've listened to in our house, was a huge impact on the music that I'm writing today and the music that I wrote when I was a kid. So yeah, definitely the music that I do, it's definitely influenced by all those greatest artists that we used to listen to when, a couple of years back. And I think that the music that I do is kind of connecting the dots between different kind of genres. It's kind of unique, I think, for me at least, with my experience of making music. It's kind of, it's kind of unique, and it's amazing experience to try and develop my own genre.
How would well, you said that that songwriting for you was a sort of like it was an escape or a way to sort of like kind of say what you wanted to say. What is it that you really want to say? What is it that you really want to say, Snir? What do you really want to put out there?
Yeah. So what I meant by it is that when I was a kid, I was a really quiet and unsocial teenager. So I couldn't really share my story with the people around me. So when I started writing songs, that was the point when I started to to tell people who I really am and share my life story with them, because I found it really easier through the songs, neither than just connecting to people face to face. So there is not much of a say that I have to say, but it's more like telling my life story. There is no like political stuff behind it. It's just me, just me and my life story.
Okay, well then, you have a single out, right? As we're recording this, you have a single out called "You and I." And could you tell us about the single and what it's about?
Yeah, so I first wrote it as part of a submission process to a movie, Hollywood movie called Paper Towns. It was when I first heard that they're going to make a movie. I was really excited about it because I was reading the book by John Green, and I really loved the story. And when I heard that they are looking for songs to the music to the movie, I decided to jump on it and write a song influenced by the story. So that's what I did, and unfortunately, it didn't went through the official soundtrack, but it definitely made it to the unofficial soundtrack on YouTube under the Universal Music, which was amazing honor for me. So
yeah, of course.
The song itself, it's influenced by the love story of two people that are starred in the book and in the movie called Margot and Ben. So it's kind of it's the first song that I have ever written that it's not about me. It's about someone else's story. So it was kind of.
How do you go about doing that? Because I mean, it's one thing to kind of find a way, even if it's just the emotion of what you're feeling, but to kind of put yourself in somebody else's point of view. How did you work that out, or what kind of process did you have to go through to do that?
So as I said before, the story of Paper Towns is one of the books that I really loved to read, and I was so connected to the story behind it because as a kid I felt like I was going through the same kind of love story that the book is all about. So I had a good time to connect to the story itself. So it wasn't really hard to write about it. So
I got you.
I just imagined myself, as a part of it. So I could really feel the emotions that the characters are going through and the love story behind it. So if we were talking about this specific song, it really felt like I was the guy in the story. So it was it was pretty easy for me to write a song, this specific song. But when I write for other artists, and I do, so it involves a lot of a lot of talking with the artist to understand their life story, and I try to connect their life story through my eyes, and because I'm writing to other people also, it's I already know how to isolate my story to them story and to their story and kind of combine the two. So it's kind of an interesting process, but I really, really like it, and I feel so comfortable doing that on a daily basis. So,
being from, I just thought of this, and being from Israel, I'm assuming then that English is not your first language.
All right. Yeah.
So
if you can,
that presents, doesn't that sort of present a whole other challenge to sort of like, English versus your native language, and what are how do you decide? Do you write it in both languages, or do you pick ahead of time? Oh, I'm going to write this one in English. How do you work that out?
So back in time, I released my first album ever, which was in Hebrew, which is my main language, in 2012. But then I traveled to New York, and I don't know, I really felt that I need to record something in English, because I had a few texts in English that I really wanted to record. So I just went in a recording studio in the city. And then when the magic happened, I fell in love with the language, with the process, with the people. And suddenly I felt like it was much easier for me to write in English than Hebrew. Because as I always say, I'm a person of music first than lyrics. I'm coming from music. I'm coming from the notes. I'm coming from the written music than the written lyrics. So I have in my drawer hundreds of music pieces, and I can have only 10 pieces of lyrics. I can write music and then sit on the lyric for 2 months until I am 89% satisfied with it, because I will never be 100% satisfied with my lyrics. It's kind of hard. I have this terrible self judgment when it comes to the lyrics. But yeah, definitely today I feel much more confident to write in English, and I can't really explain why. It just comes much more easier than Hebrew, and I never learned English. We had a couple of lessons in school, and by watching TV series like Friends and stuff, but in Israel. But that's when I mainly learned English. And of course, by walking down the streets in New York, and going out there, dive into the deep water, and that's the best way, I think, to learn foreign language.
Just jump in, go to another country and say, I got to survive.
Just go. You need a coffee. What are you gonna do? Go to Starbucks. Talk to the bartender. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I would learn.
Let me ask you about, because you have on your website, the first thing that comes up is this really powerful, very intense video for the song Taking. Could you tell us a little bit about the song and about the video? Yeah,
so it's definitely a story. The song was written on definitely 100% self experiences, not even connecting to political things. It was 100% written on myself, experienced by I always said that New York is the biggest and the beautiful city that for me. But when I walk there by myself, sometimes you can really feel that you're the smallest person in the world under those amazing skyscrapers, and there is a lot of emotion involved in this. Just when you walk down Fifth Avenue and you feel all alone, it's the most amazing, but at the same time the scariest experience that I personally ever experienced. So Taking was written about this feeling. And all this EP, the upcoming EP, that even his title, Concrete City, is written about the story of a little man in the biggest and amazing city of New York. So this is the story behind Taking. But when we decided to release this single with my previous publicist, he had this idea of that was like date sensitive, because we released it on November 4th, when it's the day when the Israeli Prime Minister was killed a couple of years back, I think 20 years back. So my publicist listened to the song and he said, all right, we can definitely connect this story to the story of this date, the 4th of November. And at the same time, in Israel, there were like this terror attacks of stabbing and awful attacks on the Israeli people and also on the Palestinians. So it's not really the music video itself doesn't really stand for neither side. We just wanted to show what's going on in the Middle East these days, and in the end of the video there is a lot of pictures of hope between the sides. You can see one little Jew kid and one little Palestinian kid hugging. That was the most powerful picture. I'm sorry, in the music video, it's the final picture. So when we decided to do a music video for Taking, my ex-publicist told me, all right, let's do it. Let's show the world what's going on in the Middle East. Let's tell your story, where you're coming from, and let's give the world a hope for better days. Because the text of Taking is really, even though it was written on my story as an individual in the city, the text itself can definitely, be connected to what's going on in the world itself, not only in Israel and Palestine, but also there was after that the attacks in Paris and also the 9/11. That you can definitely take it to this place, and definitely it was kind of a song to anybody. Everybody likes. They saw the video and they was like, oh wow, this so powerful, and yeah.
Well, it's a very powerful video, and if I can sort of summarize a little bit what you're saying, is that you took something that was personal, the song, and you found a way to kind of relate it on sort of in a worldwide way and relate it to this other situation. And just for those who haven't seen it yet, the video is very intense, but it does build and build and build till you have towards the end you start to see hope. And it is very beautiful, and it's very touching, it's very moving, and you can go to sniryamin.com. That is SNIRYAMIN.com, and that's the first thing you see, and I highly recommend that everybody go and check that out. Let's talk a little bit about here your record that's coming out, Concrete City, which you said was sort of about this feeling about being in New York City. Can you tell us a little bit about where you recorded and who produced it and who worked with you on it?
Sure, yeah. So this EP is part of a collaboration of me and American label called Sweet Sound, which operate also Sweet Sound's studio in New York. The producer of this EP is the home producer of the studio, called Josh Ginchua. It's an American kind of electropop producer, but also has a lot of experience with singer-songwriters. So I had a really great collaboration with him. Also, there is cellist called Colin Stokes, that he's Universal Studios cellist, that worked with me in 3 tracks out of 4, and the process itself was pretty straightforward. We get into the studio, tracked like 10 songs, and decided the best 4 to include in the EP. And the reason that we're releasing just an EP for now, which is going to be actually my second EP. The first one was released in 2013, called Urban Stories. And so this is going to be the second EP, and then I believe that there is not going to be a third EP. It's going to be like a full album, an LP. But the reason behind this EP is just we want to just test how it's how people are going to connect to the song, going to connect to the to my story, to see the reactions. That's what me and the label kind of decided that it's going to be the best way to go out there, perform, take the EP to anywhere in the world, try to understand the vibes. And I really was amazed about the reaction after my first EP was out. So I'm kind of very positive about this upcoming one, and I'm really excited. It's going to be out on June 6th, and soon it's going to be able to, you all be able to pre-order it on iTunes and Google Store.
Okay.
It's going to be on June 6th.
June 6th. And if you want to sort of get a sneak peek, you can go to, I just mentioned Snir Yamin, SnirYamin.com, but you also have SoundCloud, right? That's SoundCloud.com / Snir Yamin, and you can hear some of the music. You can get like a sneak peek of what he's doing. Well, some of his other music is there. It's very cool. And now you were planning on doing some touring, right? You're going to come. You're calling from Israel, but you're going to be coming to the U.S. This spring or this summer? Is that the plan?
Yeah, so I just finished touring. I was in Germany, in Frankfurt and Berlin, and then I came back to Israel. Since February till actually last Thursday, I finished like a 2 months tour in Israel. It was so cool. And then on upcoming May, actually, like a month, and so I'm coming over to the U.S., starting from New York, all the way up to Boston, and then down to Florida, and then to Tennessee, and that's it, I think, for now. But I'm totally planning to go over to the West Coast also and do some California and, LA, San Diego, maybe Washington, Seattle. It's kind of we're building it up right now, but first it's going to be the East Coast and, New York, Boston, what did I mention before. I'm so excited. It's going to be my first American tour. I used to perform like twice in New York, but as part of CMJ Music Marathon. It's a festival of college radio in New York that happens once a year on October. So I took part in 2014 and 2016, and I really loved the American audience. So I decided that I must perform, in a real tour and tour bus and stuff, and in a band, and take my spread my word up there. Out there.
So you're gonna be touring. You're gonna be touring with a band. You're not gonna be just you and your guitar.
Yeah, the plan is to get in a band when I'm in Europe, because usually I'm doing it all by myself. I have this loop station stuff and guitars and computer and samples and stuff. But yeah, I think in when the American tour is gonna be it's gonna be a full band style.
Excellent. That sounds fantastic. And so you're gonna probably be there, and then you. So after you're done in Europe, or you're done in the U.S. and doing everything, you said you're thinking, are you already sort of planning what the next release might be, and you're thinking maybe full length record? Are you thinking about that maybe in 2017 then? The rest of the year maybe just touring, or what does the sort of layout look like for the next year?
Yeah, so after this EP will be released in 2 months from now, I'm just gonna be promoting it.
Right.
I guess it's going to be mostly in U.S. and Canada for now. It's going to take 6 months, I guess. And then, when I'm done this tour, I'm going to get into the studio again. And, it's all over the place, all over again. Like,
that's
the lyrics, actually. Yeah, you're going to into the studio recording. Once it's done, you're going to tour it, promote it, radio and stuff, and then all over again.
Okay. All right. And the best way for people to find you then is on your website, singer-songwriter.com. Is that the best way for people to kind of keep up with what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is tour dates updating like regular basis, but also, you can find all my socials out there on my website. There is the Instagram and Facebook and SoundCloud and Twitter and Google Plus and all. So when you go to my website, you can find everything there, including the social media links. So definitely, it's the best way to catch up.
All right, everyone. Snir, thank you so much for taking some time out of your obviously very busy life to talk with us today. We really wish you all the best, man. I mean, this is dynamite songwriter, and really kind of just have to hear. It's hard to describe somebody's music, just by talking about it. There's a point at which, we can talk about it all day, but you just have to go listen to it. So if you go to the website, you can hear Taking, and if you go to SoundCloud /Snir Yamin, you can listen to even more songs there. So I highly encourage everyone to do it. Snir, thank you so much. And you have a wonderful rest of the day, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It means the world to me.
Oh, no, that's very sweet. Have a great day, and we will definitely do everything in our powers in our little world here to promote what you're doing, okay?
All right, thank you so much.
All right, take care, my friend.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Everyone, you've been listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. This was my interview with Snir Yamin, Sniryamin. And probably if you would just put that in quotes in Google, you'd probably find absolutely everything's got going on. But if you just put that into SoundCloud, you can listen. I was listening to some of it before today before we started the interview, and he's a very, very talented songwriter. And there's a depth and a sort of sweetness. You heard the kind of sweetness he has when he speaks. That really kind of shines through. There's a sort of vulnerability that comes through in his music. It's very, very touching. It's very, very, very memorable hooks. It's very, very good stuff. And I highly encourage everyone out there in Loudini land to check it out. You are listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. That is Loudini, like Houdini, but Loudini, rockandrollcircus.com. Please go there, and you can hear a new interview every Wednesday, and every Saturday is a new music podcast with my partner and cohort, partner in crime, Kevin O'Connor. If you like this kind of music, if you think that it's important, if you're going like, yeah, man, this Snir Yamin, what he's doing is really freaking awesome, then help us get the word out by going to supportindierock.com, and you can get involved there. Just go there, you get all the information. One more shout out to my my wonderful sponsor, who I love very deeply, Joanne Quinn Smith of Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine, a.k.a. the Techno Granny. You want to go to Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine or pplmag.com, and you can check out everything that Joanne has there. It's a great site. It's a great community. And if you've got anything you want to promote or you want to get some great bargains on stuff or learn some more information about anything, it's the place, pplmag.com. Guys, this is the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. We'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks for listening.